You think you're mentally tough? You've read the books. You've watched the videos. You tell yourself to push through when things get hard. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly suffered? Not inconvenience, not discomfort, real suffering. The kind that strips away everything you thought you were. Most people confuse mental toughness with motivation. They think it's about feeling strong, but true mental toughness has nothing to do with feelings. It's about continuing when every feeling tells you to stop. And no one understood this better than Miyamoto Musashi. He slept in caves. He went days without food. He walked barefoot in winter. Lived like an animal for years. Not because he had to, because he chose to. And that choice made him unbreakable. Today, I'm going to show you what real mental toughness looks like. But be warned, it's nothing like what the modern world teaches. Subscribe and comment what you think mental toughness means. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Strength. His name was Kevin, 32 years old, former college athlete, now working as a sales manager at a pharmaceutical company. Kevin considered himself mentally tough. He woke up at 5 a.m. He hit the gym 6 days a week. He read books about discipline and warrior mindset. But Kevin had never been truly tested. His 5 a.m. alarm had a warm bed waiting if he hit snooze. His gym had air conditioning and filtered water. His discipline was comfortable discipline, designed around convenience. Then life tested him for real. His company restructured. Kevin was demoted. His salary cut by 40%. His wife, stressed about finances, grew distant. His father was diagnosed with terminal cancer, 3 months to live. Kevin's morning routine collapsed within a week. The alarm rang at 5 a.m. He stared at the ceiling. What's the point? The gym membership went unused. The discipline books collected dust. His mental toughness evaporated the moment real pressure arrived. He sat in his car one evening, unable to go inside his own house, paralyzed. The man who thought he was unbreakable was completely broken, not by the circumstances themselves, but by his realization that he had no foundation. His strength was built on sand. That night, Kevin's father handed him an old book, pages worn from decades of reading. The Book of 5 Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. His father had carried it through Vietnam. He said 3 words, read his life. Kevin expected philosophy, found something else, a blueprint for real suffering. Chapter 2. The Forging of a Warrior. Miyamoto Musashi's life was not inspirational. It was brutal. His mother died when he was young. His father abandoned him. By 7 years old, he was essentially an orphan, raised by an uncle who had little interest in him. 13, Musashi killed his first opponent, not in a controlled duel, in a fight to the death with a trained adult samurai. The boy won. But instead of celebration, he was forced to flee. For the next several years, he wandered Japan as a ronin, a masterless samurai, the lowest status a warrior could hold. He had no home, no master, no income, no status. He slept outdoors in rain and snow. He ate whatever he could find. He bathed in cold rivers. He owned nothing but his swords and the clothes rotting on his body. But here's what struck Kevin most. Musashi chose this life. He wrote that he decided to live as if already dead. He deliberately sought discomfort because comfort was the enemy of growth. He trained in freezing waterfalls. He meditated in caves for months. He refused medicine when sick because he wanted to test his will against his body. Musashi wasn't born mentally tough. He constructed mental toughness through voluntary suffering. Every hardship was a weight added to his training. Every discomfort strengthened his capacity to endure. By 60, Musashi had fought over 60 duels. Won every single one. But his greatest victory wasn't against opponents. It was against himself, against the part of him that wanted comfort, ease, safety. He killed that part through decades of deliberate struggle. Kevin read this passage and felt shame. His discomfort was forced upon him. Musashi's was chosen. Kevin ran from suffering. Musashi ran toward it. Chapter 3. The Reconstruction. Kevin started differently this time, not with motivation, with intention. He stopped asking, "How do I feel?" and started asking, "What needs to be done?" His father was dying. What needs to be done? Be present. So Kevin drove 2 hours every day after work, sat with his father, said nothing sometimes, just presence. His feelings screamed that it was too painful. He went anyway. His marriage was strained. What needs to be done? Stop withdrawing. So Kevin talked to his wife, not about solutions, it's about fears. Vulnerability felt like weakness. He did it anyway. His career was damaged. What needs to be done? Rebuild without ego. He took the demotion without bitterness. Worked harder than before, not for promotion, for the discipline itself. Week by week, something shifted. Kevin wasn't happier, but he was stronger, real strength, not the kind built in comfortable gyms. The kind built in cold rivers and lonely caves. The kind Musashi knew. His father passed 3 months later. Kevin held his hand until the end. The grief was enormous. But Kevin didn't collapse. He stood at the funeral and spoke clearly. His wife held his hand afterward and said something that broke him open. "You're different now, stronger, I see it." Chapter 4. The Truth About Toughness. 6 months later, Kevin understood what mental toughness really meant. It wasn't about feeling powerful. It was about acting correctly when you feel powerless. It wasn't about eliminating suffering. It was about choosing your relationship to suffering. Musashi wrote that the way of the warrior is death, not physical death, ego death. The death of the part that seeks comfort above purpose, safety above growth, feelings above action. True mental toughness is built only one way, through suffering you don't run from. There are no shortcuts, no hacks, no morning routines that substitute for real struggle. The question isn't whether suffering will come. It will. The question is whether you will meet it as a warrior or collapse as a pretender. Kevin's coworker asked him months later how he survived that year. His answer was simple. I stopped trying to feel tough. I started doing what tough people do. Show up when it hurts, act when afraid, continue when broken. This is Musashi's gift. Not technique, not philosophy, but proof that humans can endure far more than they believe. So here's my question. What suffering are you running from? What discomfort are you avoiding that could be forging you? Comment below. Subscribe if this challenged you. The way of the warrior is waiting, but you must walk it through fire.